The silence is the first thing they notice. It's not the silence of a well-insulated luxury cabin, nor the quiet hum of a hybrid electric motor at a stoplight. It is the violent, sudden, and absolute silence of a catastrophic mechanical seizure at 70 miles per hour. One moment, you are towing a 5,000-pound boat up a grade in the Texas Hill Country. The twin-turbocharged V6 singing a song of modern torque and efficiency. The next, there is a metallic shudder, a sensation like a hammer striking the firewall, followed by a cascade of warning lights that turns the digital dashboard into a Christmas tree of panicked crimson. The tachometer drops to 0. The power steering vanishes. You are piloting a 3-ton brick of steel and aluminum, dead in the water, drifting toward the shoulder of a busy interstate. This is not a fluke. This is not a bad tank of gas. This is the V35A FTS engine failure. A phenomenon that has transformed from a few isolated forum complaints into a global engineering crisis that threatens to unravel the single most valuable asset in the automotive world, Toyota's reputation for invincibility. For decades, the Toyota badge was a shield. It promised that while other cars might be faster, sexier, or more technologically advanced, the Toyota would get you home. The Land Cruiser, the Hilux, the Tundra, these were machines built with a philosophy of over-engineering that bordered on obsession. But something changed when the calendar flipped to the 2022 model year. The legendary, bulletproof 5.7-liter V8, an engine that would happily run for 500,000 miles with nothing but oil changes and prayer, was retired. In its place came the V35A FTS, a 3.4-liter twin-turbocharged V6 marvel of complexity, designed to meet tightening emission standards while delivering more power and torque. It was supposed to be the future. Instead, it has become a forensic crime scene of metal shavings and shattered main bearings. We are looking at Recall 24 V381 and its terrifying expansion, 25 V767. These are not just alphanumeric codes in a database. They are the death certificates of over 130,000 engines. The official explanation from Toyota is almost insultingly simple. Machining debris. They claim that during the production process at the Alabama and Japanese engine plants, tiny fragments of metal, swarf, leftovers from the milling and boring of the engine block, were not properly flushed out before assembly. These microscopic assassins, some no larger than a grain of sand, were sealed inside the engine, lurking in the oil galleries, waiting for the moment of ignition. When the engine runs, the oil pump picks up this debris and sends it surging through the lubrication system. But these engines operate with extremely tight tolerances. The debris doesn't just pass through. It lodges itself between the crankshaft main bearings and the journals. The main bearings are the foundation of the engine. They hold the spinning crankshaft in place. Once that debris wedges itself into the soft fabric material of the bearing, the clock starts ticking. It acts like sandpaper, scoring the journal, creating friction, and generating intense, localized heat. The oil film, the critical barrier that prevents metal-on-metal contact, is breached. The bearing begins to smear. It welds itself to the crankshaft. And then, seizure. The engine locks up instantly. But the forensic reality is far darker than just dirty manufacturing. If this were simply a case of a few dirty blocks, why did the failures persist? Why did Toyota expand the recall from the 2022 and 2023 models into 2024? This suggests that the process changes they implemented, the new cleaning protocols, the higher pressure washes, the acoustic resonance testing, did not solve the problem. It points to a potential design vulnerability in the V35A architecture itself. Critics and independent engine builders who have torn down these failed units point to the main bearing design. In the pursuit of efficiency and reduced friction, modern engines use narrower bearings and lower viscosity 0W20 oils. This leaves a terrifyingly thin margin for error. In the old 5.7 V8, you could practically throw a handful of gravel in the crankcase, and it might still limp home. In the V35A, a single flake of aluminum is a death sentence. The debris explanation, while likely true, may be masking a systemic intolerance to contamination that shouldn't exist in a truck engine designed for the rough-and-tumble reality of work sites and off-road abuse. The scale of the remediation is logistical madness. This is not a software update. This is not a sensor replacement. Toyota has committed to replacing the entire engine assembly, the long block, in over 100,000 trucks and Lexus LX600 SUVs. Let's do the forensic accounting. A modern twin-turbo long block, dressed with turbos, timing covers, and high-pressure fuel pumps, is not a cheap item. We are talking conservatively about $10,000 to $15,000 in parts alone per vehicle. Then add the labor. Replacing the engine in a Tundra is a cab-off procedure or a massive front-end disassembly. It takes a master technician 20 to 30 hours. Multiply that by 100,000. You are looking at billions of dollars in direct costs, burned in the furnace of warranty claims. And that's just the money. Where do you find the technicians? Every dealership service bay in North America is already booked weeks out. Now you have to flood them with the most complex, heavy lifting job imaginable. You are paralyzing your own service network for years. And what about the trucks sitting on dealer lots? A stop sale order freezes inventory. The 2024 Tundras, gleaming in solar octane and lunar rock, are effectively bricks until they are cleared. The resale value of the 2022 to 2024 Tundra has plummeted. Who wants to buy a used truck with a Grenade V6? Unless it has the paperwork proving the heart transplant has already happened? The trust, the currency Toyota trades in, is devaluing faster than the Venezuelan bolivar. We are watching the Kaizen philosophy, the continuous improvement that Toyota preaches, collide with the brutal reality of modern complexity. Akio Toyoda, the chairman, the man who raced cars and swore to make them fun to drive, again now faces a different challenge: making them drive at all. He has apologized before. He apologized for the unintended acceleration scandal. He apologized for the Hino emission scandal. He apologized for the Daihatsu safety test rigging. But this is the flagship. This is the Tundra. This is the Lexus LX, the vehicle of choice for warlords and UN peacekeepers alike because it never breaks. The engineering hubris here is palpable. The transition from V8 to Turbo V6 was driven by regulatory pressure, yes, but the execution was rushed. The investigation reveals that the debris issue was known as early as 2022. Field technical reports, FTRs, began trickling in. Engines knocking. Engine seizing. Toyota engineers in Japan analyzed the returned blocks and found the debris. They tweaked the cleaning process. They thought they had it. They didn't. The failures continued. The expansion to recall 25 V767 in November 2025 acknowledges that even engines built after the initial cleanup attempts were still failing. This implies that the debris might not just be from machining the block. It could be coming from the assembly of the heads, the turbo piping, or the crankshaft cross-drilling itself. It is a ghost in the machine, a systemic infection in the manufacturing DNA of the V35A. Consider the plight of the owner. You spend $80,000 on a Tundra TRD Pro. You buy it because you want the best. You want the heritage of the Ivan Stewart Baja trucks. You get a truck that you are terrified to drive out a cell service range. Every noise, every tick of the direct injectors makes you sweat. Is that the debris? Is that the bearing spinning? You join Facebook groups and forums, reading horror stories of families stranded in the Mojave, of trucks seizing while merging onto the 405. You receive a letter in the mail, a polite notice from Plano, Texas, telling you that your truck has a defect that could cause a crash. But the remedy is pending. You are in limbo. You are driving a time bomb, and the bomb squad is still reading the manual on how to defuse it. This scandal also exposes the fragility of the just-in-time global manufacturing system. These engines are built in plants like Toyota Motor Manufacturing Alabama and Tahara in Japan. They are built on lines that run at breakneck speeds to satisfy demand. When you prioritize volume and speed, and you introduce a new, hyper-complex engine architecture with tight tolerances, you create a recipe for disaster. The old V8s were loose. They were forgiving. They were simple. The V35A is a Swiss watch trying to do the job of a sledgehammer. And now, Toyota has to recall the watches and replace them, one by one, while the world watches. The financial impact is staggering, but the cultural impact is worse. Toyota enthusiasts are a cult. They mock Ford for the EcoBoost chem phasers. They mock Ram for the lifter failures. They mock GM for the AFM lifters. They sat on their high horse of reliability, secure in the knowledge that their Tundra was immortal. That high horse has been shot out from under them. The forums are now filled with betrayal. I should have kept my 2018. I'm trading for a Godzilla F-250. The brand loyalty is fracturing. And once that cracks, it is incredibly difficult to repair. You can replace an engine. You cannot easily replace a belief system. The technical fix, the short block versus long block debate, raged for months. Initially, there was talk of short block replacements, where technicians would strip the heads and turbos off the dead engine and transfer them to a new block. That is a recipe for secondary failure. If metal debris circulated through the oil, it is in the turbo bearings. It is in the cam phasers. It is in the variable valve timing actuators. You cannot clean that out with a can of brake cleaner. Toyota realized this. They realized that if they did short blocks, they'd be buying these trucks back under lemon laws within 6 months. So they bit the bullet. Long blocks. Full replacements. It is the only way to be sure. But it burns cash at a rate that would make a sovereign nation blush. And let's not forget the hybrid models. The I-Force Max. They use the same engine architecture. While the recall documentation has been specific about non-hybrid models initially due to the ability of the hybrid system to allow the car to limp to the side of the road even if the gas engine seizes, the mechanical heart is the same. The debris doesn't care if there is an electric motor sandwiched between the engine and the transmission. If the bearing seizes, the engine dies. The legal distinction between safety risk and mechanical failure is the only thing keeping the hybrids from the same immediate catastrophic recall classification in some jurisdictions, but the mechanical reality is identical. The V35A is the V35A. If it has debris, it dies. As we look at the 2025 and 2026 models rolling off the line, Toyota insists the problem is solved. They have implemented laser-based debris detection. They have changed the machining protocols. They have likely secretly revised the bearing clearances or materials. Though they won't admit to a design change because that would be an admission that the original design was flawed, not just dirty. But the shadow remains. Every Tundra owner will be watching their odometer. The first 5,000 miles. The first 10,000 miles. The debris usually kills the engine early, but not always. Some have failed at 30,000 miles. The uncertainty is the punishment. This is the debris scandal. It is a cautionary tale of what happens when the relentless pursuit of efficiency meets the chaotic reality of mass production. It is a reminder that even the giants can stumble. And when a giant like Toyota stumbles, the ground shakes. The Tundras are lining up at the service bays, hoods up, engines hanging from hoists like harvested organs. It is a scene of industrial surgery on a massive scale. And standing over it all is the ghost of the 5.7 LV8, whispering the most painful words in the automotive language. I told you so.